Before us, there was the universe, a silent, sprawling expanse of being. Stars were born and died, galaxies collided, and on a small, wet rock, life emerged. For billions of years, events simply happened. There was change, there was motion, there was a sequence, but there was no clock watching it. Before humans measured it, time simply was. It was the rhythm of a supernova, the crawl of a glacier, the beat of a heart. It was a river with no banks, flowing in every direction at once. Our earliest ancestors lived inside this river. They felt its currents, the rising sun, the gnawing hunger, the coming winter. They lived in an endless now, their existence a dance between instinct and survival. They did not know they were moving through something called time, until one of them noticed. It may have been a shadow, or the slow silver crawl of the moon as it waxed and waned, or the return of a specific star in the cold of the night sky. It wasn't a sudden discovery, it was a slow dawning, a pattern repeating, a rhythm that could be anticipated. And in that moment of recognition, humanity did something extraordinary. We reached into the formless flow of existence and gave it a name. We didn't invent the river, we just built the first clock to measure its speed. The first clock was not made of wood or metal, it was the planet itself. Its daily rotation gave us the sunlit stage of day and the star-dusted blanket of night. Its yearly orbit around the sun gave us the great sweeping acts of the seasons. This was Time 1.0, simple, reliable, and deeply connected to survival. Early humans were expert readers of this natural clock. The angle of the sun told them how much daylight was left for the hunt. The flowering of a particular plant signaled that berries were ripe. The migration of herds was a living calendar of the passing year. But memory is fragile. To truly grasp these patterns, we needed to record them. On cave walls, we drew pictures of the animals that appeared in certain seasons. On pieces of bone, like the 20,000-year-old Ishango bone, we carved notches. Many archaeologists believe these aren't just random marks. They are lunar calendars, humanity's first attempt to write time down, to hold the moon in our hands. This was a profound cognitive leap. We were no longer just experiencing the present, we were connecting the past to the future. We were learning to predict. And as our societies grew, so did our need to organize around these predictions. All over the world, we built monumental calendars of stone. We erected giant structures that aligned perfectly with the solstices, the longest and shortest days of the year. These weren't just observatories. They were places of ritual, of community. The winter solstice wasn't just the darkest day. It was a promise that the light would return. By marking this moment, we gave the chaos of nature a narrative. We found meaning in the cycles. This knowledge was power. Knowing when to plant was the difference between a feast and a famine. Knowing when the seasons would turn was the key to building the first villages, the first cities. Agriculture turned the hunter into a farmer, and the farmer needed a schedule. Time was no longer just a passive observation, it was a tool for civilization. As civilizations blossomed, the grand, slow rhythm of the seasons was no longer enough. To run an empire, you need to organize armies, collect taxes, and schedule religious ceremonies. You need to break the day itself into smaller, manageable pieces. The ancient Egyptians were masters of this. Their entire civilization depended on the annual flooding of the Nile, a predictable event they tied to the rising of the star Sirius. This led them to create one of the first solar calendars, a 365-day system of stunning accuracy. To manage the day, they erected massive stone obelisks. These were the world's first public clocks. As the sun moved, the obelisk's shadow would sweep across marked divisions on the ground, telling the time for all to see. But what about at night, or on a cloudy day? For this, they invented the water clock, or clepsydra, the water thief. It was a simple, brilliant device. a container that allowed water to drip out at a constant rate. By measuring how much water was gone, you could measure the passing hours. For the first time, time was untethered from the heavens. It was a substance that could be contained, measured, and controlled, day or night. Meanwhile, the Babylonians took a more mathematical approach. Obsessed with predicting the future from the stars, they became meticulous astronomers. They divided the circle of the sky into 360 degrees. Applying this geometry to time, they were the ones who gave us the 60-minute hour and the 60-second minute, a system so practical we still use thousands of years later. The ancient Greeks inherited this knowledge and elevated it to an art. They built machines of breathtaking complexity, like the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient analog computer of gears and dials designed to predict the movement of the sun, moon, and planets for decades to come. It was a clockwork model of the cosmos. It was a statement. The universe is a machine, and we can understand it. For centuries, water clocks were the peak of precision, but they were finicky. They froze in winter and evaporated in summer. The next great leap came from an unlikely place, the quiet solitude of medieval monasteries. Monks needed a reliable way to schedule their 7 daily prayers. Driven by the spiritual need, they created the first mechanical clocks, powered not by flowing water, but by falling weights and intricate gears. This was the moment time truly came indoors. It was no longer a shadow on a wall, but a machine ticking within it. Independent, relentless, and human-made. The mechanical clock changed everything. At first, it was a symbol of status and power, a luxury for kings and cities. Public clocks were installed in town squares, and for the first time, a whole community could organize their lives around a single unified source of time. The clock tower replaced the sun as the arbiter of the day. This synchronized world was the engine of the modern age. It allowed for complex navigation across oceans, the coordination of armies, and the birth of modern science, which relied on precise, repeatable measurements. Then came the Industrial Revolution. In the factory, time wasn't just a measure of the day, it became a commodity. Time was money. The lives of workers were now divided into shifts, hours, and minutes. The clock dictated when you ate, when you worked, and when you slept. We built clocks to organize our labor, only to find our lives organized by them. The railroad accelerated this process. To avoid trains crashing, every station had to be perfectly synchronized. This led to the creation of standard time and time zones, a global grid laid over the planet. The sun could say it was noon in one town, but if the railroad clock said 12:15, then it was 12:15. For the first time, human time officially overruled natural time. Today, we live inside this artificial clock. We have chopped time into nanoseconds. We optimize our days, schedule our futures, and try to squeeze every last drop of productivity from every fleeting moment. We are haunted by deadlines, by aging, by the feeling that we are constantly running out of time. Which leads to a strange and poignant irony. We became obsessed with measuring time to gain control over our world. But somewhere along the line, we lost something. The moment we counted the seconds, we began to fear losing them.